Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of voice radio. So today, well, put it this way. I woke up to Facebook messages, tweets, and DMs on Twitter, all about the same topic. And when I get many messages in many different ways, all about the same topic, generally something's going on in the Pokemon world, and it's pretty gosh darn exciting. And that is absolutely the case, because Mew Mew has gone and been revealed. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Mew and Mewtwo Tag Team GX. We know what it looks like. We know what it does. And we should give a shout out to the lovely RappelmannTCG, the lovely David Hochmann over on Facebook, who is a lovely chap who has revealed the secret of this thing to us. So, Mew Mew GX then. It's got 270 HP, which is on the high end for Tag Team GXs. It's got a retreat cost of 2, which is kind of annoying. It's got a weakness to Psychic, which isn't really that bad at the moment. Because we got a bunch of Psychic Pokemon seeing play, like indeed Mew and like indeed Mewtwo. But they're not really great attackers. So I think we're alright. And then of course you're a Psychic type yourself. Now, generally, you would be hitting weakness on Buzzwole, except Buzzwole's going to rotate around when this comes out. And it means you get to use stuff like Spell Tag, which is kind of nice. And it means you can accelerate energy using Malamar, which is lovely. And yeah, it's quite good. We like this. But what does it actually do? That's what we're really worried about here. And according to the lovely David Hochmann, the ability is amazing. This Pokemon can use all attacks from your benched Pokemon EX and GX, and any Pokemon EX and GX in your discard pile. So, that's ridiculous. It means that you don't need to worry about what the attacks are, you can use the attacks of any Pokemon EX and GX in your discard pile or on the bench. Which means you can essentially make this whatever you want. Which is crazy good. Now, it only has a GX attack. It doesn't have an attack of its own, a main attack, a non-GX attack. But it doesn't really need it. This can be silly. Now, one of the things you can do here is just go, right, well, I'm just going to play it with Malamar and use all the Tag Team GXs I can. So you've got Eevee and Snorlax, the best attack of which, for 4 energy, does 240 to an evolved Pokemon. That's kind of cool. Or maybe you play with Muck and Alolan Muck, which is really good with the poison. 3 energy, poison, they take 8 damage counters between turns. 4 energy, 120, but if the defending Pokemon is poisoned, heal 100. They would work quite nicely. Or indeed, you've got Latias and Latios Tag Team GX, which for 4 energy can do 240, though you do need to discard 3 of them in order to actually do so. Think of it as being good for basic Pokemon, whereas Eevee and Snorlax is pretty gosh darn good for evolved Pokemon. That's pretty gosh darn nice. And you can use all 3 of them just by mucking about with Malamar and this. And there's going to be more in the future. There are going to be more options here, and this is how I get quite so excited. Because you've got all those options. And this is just the Malamar build. This is just, I'm using Malamar, so I've got these 3 Tag Team GXs. And if I'm against a basic Pokemon, I can use Latias and Latios, but I've got to discard the energy. But against an evolved Pokemon, I can use Eevee and Snorlax, and I don't have to discard the energy. Or I can play around with special conditions. Because actually, you've got more HP than Latias and Latios. So you can literally just use this as a Latias and Latios with 20 extra HP. Except it's not just 20 extra HP, because they're a dragon Pokemon, which means they're not hitting for weakness. You are hitting for weakness. And like I've said, you can use stuff like Spell Tag. And whereas our Pokemon search options are getting very limited post-rotation, you're going to have Mysterious Treasure, which you can have a play around with, which will allow you to go and search out this. And that's where we're going with this, ladies and gentlemen. You've got a better typing and more HP, and it's basically Latias and Latios. And all at the cost of either having one on your bench or having one in your discard pile. But it goes further than that. Kind of. So let's say, for argument's sake, you want to play a Reshiram and Charizard Tag Team GX. Well, you need to get one of those in the discard or on the bench, and you're going. Now, you have got the same HP, but you've got a different weakness. So now, all of a sudden, if you're using a Reshiram and Charizard deck and you come up against a water deck like Frostlass, which I've shown you is the just absolute silver bullet counter to that, you just use Mew and Mewtwo. And then you're fine. And, of course, you need to use Welder, but you can use Welder onto any Pokemon. It doesn't have to be a fire Pokemon. So you can get your energy on nice and easily here. And you can still use Fire Crystal to get the energy. And you can still use Fiery Flint to get the energy. And you can still use stuff like Salazzle as a draw engine because you're still using fire energy. And all of a sudden, what we have here is just a Psychic-type Reshiram and Charizard. So, at the moment, people are going, right, well, Reshiram and Charizard's amazing. And then when the next set comes out, everyone's going to go, well, Frostlass. And in Japan at the moment, Frostlass is the silver bullet counter to Reshiram and Charizard. But Mewtwo and Mew here is going to be coming out for us at the same time as Frostlass, and you can just use it as a Psychic-type Reshiram and Charizard that actually happens to have one retreat less. Now, it doesn't work for everyone. Pikachu and Zekrom comes to mind as a pairing for which it won't work beautifully. Because that, you need 3 Psychic Energy on there, and 1 is from your hand, and 1 is from a Tapu Koko Prism Star, which will work very nicely, because you can use that to put 1 energy from your discard pile to each of 2 bench Pokemon. And they need to be Lightning Energy, but they don't need to be Lightning Pokemon. But the problem is we also rely on Thunder Mountain for this combo. And the problem with Thunder Mountain is it only reduces lightning cost of lightning Pokemon. And you have essentially got a lightning cost, but you're not a lightning Pokemon. And that's a bit of a problem. But what you can do here is use Pikachu and Zekrom, get the first one of them rolling with Thunder Mountain and Tapu Koko, then use that to accelerate energy using the first attack to Mewtwo and Mew, and then you're good. And now all of a sudden you don't have that fighting weakness. And the best thing, honestly, for me here, is the fact that you can take any Tag Team GX deck you want and give it a different weakness and a different typing. Because that's what you're doing here. That's the joy of this. It's not always going to work. Things like Thunder Mountain, which are type specific, you won't be able to use with this. But stuff like Welder, you absolutely will. And I'm sorry, it's just not going to be that difficult to get one of these Pokemon into the discard pile or onto the bench. Then, of course, you've got the Malamar build, which is anything with Psychic and Colourless Energy, all in one super easy deck. And then, of course, we've got Porygon Z. I did show you Porygon Z a little while ago in a deck that played 7 different Tag Team GXs. And it did it because Porygon Z can attach as many special energy during your turn as you like, and then you played around with stuff like Rainbow Energy and Unit Energy, just attaching whatever you gosh darn well like. Well, great news. You can do that here. And you accelerate all the energy with Porygon Z, and then you use whatever attack you want with Mewtwo. And you can actually make it here. So you've got, say, 3 Rainbow Energy or whatever it is, maybe 4 Rainbow Energy if you can get them all in your hand. And then all of a sudden, you've got all these different Tag Team GXs in your discard pile. And with Porygon Z, you can get all the energy on in one turn. I'm not asking you to spend 4 turns getting it on. And now Mew and Mewtwo might have 26 different attacks to choose from, because you can use any attack from any Tag Team GX. And that is why this is so gosh darn good. Oh yeah, one more thing. Alolan Muck's rotating out, which means that you're not going to have your ability turned off very easily at all, because Alolan Muck turns off abilities of basic Pokemon. But we're losing it to the rotation. And that was the thing that was going to be the biggest threat to this. And we're not going to have it. We are still going to have, after the rotation, Glaceon GX, which will turn off your ability as you are a GX. But we're losing the Eevee that gives you the turn 1 evolution. So it's not even like this ability is going to be easy to turn off. I expect this to be one of the best Pokemon in the game when it releases. And that's before we even get to the GX attack. And according to David, the GX attack reads 3 energy, 200 damage. If you have 1 extra energy attached to it, heal all damage from all of your Pokemon. All damage, all of your Pokemon. Primarina did this in terms of healing all damage from all of your Pokemon, and I said, well, great GX attack, but it's on a stage 2, you're never going to get round to using it. And the energy cost is steep here, but again, you can use double colourless energy, though that will have unfortunately rotated, but we might get it back. You can use Malamar, you can use Welder, and then you're healing all energy from all of your Pokemon while doing 200 damage. Now, especially in a post-choice banned world, 200 damage isn't quite enough. You'll get a lot of GXs, but not all of them. You won't get tag team GXs unless they're weak. But you're also healing all of your Pokemon completely. And remember, this is a good GX attack. You won't always need it. If your opponent's taking big one-hit KOs, the healing will be irrelevant. If they're spreading damage around, the healing will be great. If they've got Pokemon with 200 HP or less, the damage will be great. If they don't, the damage won't quite be good enough. But remember, you can use any of the attacks from any of your EX and GX Pokemon, which means you can use any of your tag team GX attacks. So if you don't like it, just use another one. Make no mistake about it, this is a flat-out, hands-down 5 Wassy card. You can use it in Malamar decks, you can use it with Porygon Z to have a ridiculous choice, or you can just use it as a Psychic type, whatever other tag team GX you want, so that you're taking away your weakness. And certainly, having it in a Reshiram and Charizard deck and going in-your-face Frostlass really is going to be over-the-top good. This is an over-the-top good card. But I'd like to know what you think about it. So please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! But please do remember the rule, ladies and gentlemen. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about games that don't have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.